Hello, hello, hello. We're talking today about building authority in your yoga niche. What you need to remember is that you are a fountain of knowledge. You have expertise and you're already sharing this expertise with your students. Part of being an expert in your niche space is actually making that knowledge available, okay? Making it available and making it accessible to the people that need it. And those people, of course, are your ideal students, right? And so when we look at the online space, it's a busy place, isn't it? You know, there's a lot of content online. In fact, I read a stat recently that said that the number of new blog posts that are published every single day ranges from 5 to 10 million. Imagine that, 5 to 10 million blog posts are being published every single day. Okay, so if you're thinking right now that no one reads blog posts or it's not worth your time creating a blog post, why are 5 to 10 million blog posts being created every single day? And that's blog posts alone, right? There's then all of the content that's being shared on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, what else have we got? TikTok, Twitter. And so there's a lot happening in the online space, and you're only going to be able to cut through all of that noise if you work on becoming an authority in your space, okay? If you work on, positioning yourself as an expert in your niche and on your niche topic, essentially, right? And, when you do this, it can be a game changer for your business. It can be a game changer. So let's have a look. Let's see what you guys are saying. So do you currently feel like an expert in your space? What are we saying on this one, guys? Don't be shy. Make this interactive. Let me know. Let me know. Do you feel like an expert? Because this is one of the key things, isn't it? It's, not feeling like an expert. It's a stumbling block when you don't feel like an expert. And the thing is, when you actually look at what an expert is, like if you look up the definition of an expert in the dictionary, it will tell you that an expert is someone who has gained skills from what they have learned and from what they have experienced. So you tell me, have you learned about yoga and have you experienced yoga? Because that's what an expert is, someone who has gained skills from what they've learnt or experienced. And you've definitely learned about yoga and you've experienced yoga, right? So you actually only need to be a few steps ahead of your ideal student in order for them to consider you and perceive you as an expert in their eyes. And that's what's important, isn't it? It's their eyes. It's you just being a few steps ahead. And you have knowledge, you have expertise that, you can share online, and that's going to help you to build authority and position yourself as an expert. We're not talking about being the number one, like the world's number one expert. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not the only way to build authority in a space. We're just simply talking about having knowledge and expertise that you can share with your ideal students, and you're simply just a few steps ahead. Okay, so when you think of it like that, it's not actually as challenging as it looks. The thing is with this, when you start to use strategies that can help you to build your authority and can help you to position yourself as this expert that you already are, it's going to help you to gain exposure. It's going to help to get more people looking at you and your yoga business. It's also going to help you to build trust, okay? And trust is extremely important. Trust is one of the key things that you should be working on building, okay? Because not only does it help you to build loyalty, okay, which means people are going to keep coming back into your community. They're going to keep going on your website to see what you've got. They're going to keep checking out your Instagram profile to see what you've shared recently. Okay, they're going to be loyal in your community, But importantly, trust is what helps you to make sales. Okay, you can't make money without trust. No one is going to spend money with you unless they trust you. And so it's really important that you focus on and start to use strategies that help you to build authority. Okay, because when you build authority, you build trust. So what have we established first of all? We've established that you're already an expert. Even if you don't feel like one, you're an expert. You have knowledge, you're a fountain of knowledge, right? You're a fountain of knowledge. And so you need to start believing this. You want to grow your yoga business, right? You want to grow your yoga business. You want to make money in your yoga business, okay? Which means you want to make sales. In order to make sales, you need to build trust. To build trust, you need to have authority, okay? So we must, number one thing that we must start doing is we must start believing in ourselves. We must start believing that we're an expert. If there's just one thing to take away from today, is that you need to be 100% sold in you, right? You need to believe in you. You need to believe that all of that studying that you've been doing to become a yoga teacher has resulted in you being an expert in this space that you're in right now, right? That you have enough knowledge to impart. There's a few ways to build your authority, okay? And I'm going to share with you a few ways. The first way, and this is super obvious, really, because we're talking about how to build authority in your yoga niche. So what does that mean that we need to do? We need to have a niche, right? We need to have a niche. The reality is that you can't be an expert in everything, okay? If you try to be an expert in every part of yoga and everything there is to share about yoga, you're going to feel overwhelmed, right? You're going to be stretched way too thin. So what you need to do is define the space that you're going to be in, okay? The yoga space is a huge space. You need to find your segment, right? You need to find your segment, which means niching down with your expertise, okay? And you might have lots of things that you're passionate about. You might have lots of expertise in lots of different areas. But what is the key thing that people keep asking you about? What's the key thing that you think about all the time, right? That you're learning about all the time? Usually it's something that you've been on, it's a journey that you've been on yourself. It's something that you've already experienced. You've gone from the problem to the transformation, right? And now you can help your students to go on that journey as well. Okay, so you have to get specific, guys. You have to become the go-to expert on this topic. This is extremely important. It is essential for the online space, right? It's not so important for, if you're teaching in-person classes in a studio. Yes, you're going to have things that people come to you specifically for, definitely, right? There's going to be certain things about your class that people will be able to describe. And you know that there's certain things that you love sharing, or you have a certain specific style of sharing something, or there's something key about your personality. Okay, there's all of that, of course, that's going to set you apart from other teachers. But when it comes to growing your online community, there needs to be something, a specific topic that you are creating content on, that you're sharing about. That topic is related to a problem that your ideal student has, and you're helping them to solve that problem. Okay, that's when you can start creating workshops and memberships and online courses that really focuses on that, okay, on that thing. And when you start to focus, you build authority, right? You build authority because you become the go-to person that people will seek out when they want to learn. And people want to learn from experts, okay? They want to consume content that's being created by someone who is an expert on that topic, right? Who's a few steps ahead of them. They don't want to learn from people who are generalists, right? And know a little about a lot of things, right? They don't want to learn from those people. So when you start defining and niching down, you actually make it easier for people to find you online. Okay, so the classic example here is a Google search, right? We don't just search for yoga, we search for, how to heal trauma using yoga, or how to heal my back pain, my lower back pain with yoga, right? We search for specific things. It's not just because, well, one of the key ways, because your content then becomes related, right, on a specific topic. Google loves that. When it comes to your SEO, search engine optimization, Google loves it. But also, one of the other really great benefits of this is that it opens up opportunities to partner with people in your niche space, okay? So these opportunities are far greater if you already have a specific niche space that you're operating in, okay? So once you've, started to create content, once you've started to create content that's on a specific topic, it's much easier to find partners to collaborate with. Business is about solving problems. If you don't know the problem you solve, you can't create the content. It just doesn't work, right? If you can't create content, you can't find your people, right? You won't grow your community, which means your marketing won't work, which means you won't make any sales, which means you don't have a business. You must find your niche. You must decide on your niche. It's not even about finding it. Decide on it. And if you don't know how to do that, come and join us inside Yogipreneur Launchpad. It's the first thing we do, and you can get instant access today. So there's no excuses, really. Like, this is here to help you. And, if you want to grow an online business, you need to make sure you have the right strategies and that you have the skills and the knowledge to do it. Okay, so one of the most amazing ways to build your authority is to start a podcast. Okay, who here has a podcast? This is a great authority builder. It really is. So I was just checking out some stats. I do love stats. And last year in 2022, the number of podcast listeners grew by 6.1% to 125 million listeners. Okay, 125 million listeners, amazing. So more and more people are starting podcasts because it's a really excellent way to position yourself in your space, right? To position yourself as a thought leader. It allows you to, share insights, your knowledge, opinions. It allows you to ultimately to build a loyal following of listeners, really. There's going to be people that will listen day in, day out. And here at Digital Yoga Academy, we have the Yogipreneur podcast. And I've got to say, out of all of the channels that we share content to, the podcast is the one channel that we receive the most messages and emails about. So many messages and emails just saying, hey, love the podcast. I've now listened to every single episode of the podcast. I mean, I've received many emails that say that. I'm now on episode XXX, of, I think we're at 150 maybe. 150 episodes, maybe more. I think there's more. Yeah, we're over 150 now. And it's amazing, right? It's amazing. It's a free way for you to reach new people. We've had teachers join Yogipreneur Launchpad and the Profitable Yoga Teacher Program because they've discovered Digital Yoga Academy through the podcast. It's an incredible way to get your message out there, but also specifically to build authority. And one of the great reasons for, having a podcast is that it also allows you to expand your network, right? So this helps you specifically to build credibility, because what you can do when you've got your podcast is you can invite people to become a guest on your podcast. And what this does is it automatically aligns you with your guest, okay? So let's say that this guest of yours is, quite influential in your space. It's someone that your ideal students, is learning from, is consuming their content, is looking up to them. And, when you have them on your podcast with you, what you're doing is putting yourself side by side with this person in your space, okay? This does wonders, right, in helping you to increase your expert status. The other thing is that they're more likely to share that podcast episode with their community, okay? So you're also, increasing your reach, but also positioning yourself as an authority with their audience as well. And, what's going to happen is they're going to listen to that podcast. They're now in your space, and they're more likely to start following you and, signing up for your freebies and then becoming part of your community. So I love podcasting, and I think it might feel like it's a difficult one to get off the ground, but actually it's not. It's really not. When you know how to repurpose content, it's really not. Another way to establish or to build your authority is to publish a weekly blog post. So the teachers inside our programs do this, and they're learning how to create a long form piece of content such as a blog post, and then how to repurpose that content for their other channels. And this really is the easiest way to create content, guys. The great thing about this, about having a blog post, is that it allows you to demonstrate your expertise, right? It allows you to share your knowledge, which is what we need to be doing if we want to be seen as an expert. And it's giving you an opportunity to add real value to your audience. The other great thing about a blog post is that Google loves it. Okay, so if you are creating a blog post on your website every single week, that's fresh content, isn't it? It's fresh content on your website, which means that Google is going to send its little spiders into your website to have a little search around, and then it's going to index that content, right? It's going to pull the keywords, it's going to pull that data from your website, and it's going to index it into the content results. Okay, what that means is when someone searches for something specific, it's going to pull up your blog post, okay? Because your blog post is also something specific because it's on a topic that your niche audience is interested in. This is why we need to have a niche, okay? So, if you're optimizing your blog post with all of the right keywords, then you have an opportunity to show up in those search results, right? And think about it like this, experts and people who have authority, they have content that shows up in search results, right? Don't they? They do. So if you Google someone and nothing comes up, you're unlikely to perceive them as an expert on that topic that you've Googled, right? Whereas, if multiple links come up, so there's links to their blog post, there's links to podcast episodes, maybe there's links to other posts on websites. Perhaps they've created blog posts for their partners' websites. Okay, it's another way you can, increase your authority. And these links come up, you're more likely to see that person as an expert, as an authority. So maybe you're thinking, well, what am I going to create blog posts about? Anyone wondering that? And again, it comes back to doing the work on your niche, right? When you understand who you're serving, the problem that you solve for your ideal student, you don't have a block when it comes to content. Like, you don't struggle to come up with ideas for content because you've done that work. You know what your ideal students want content about. You know what they're searching for. You know the topics that they're interested in. So you don't have this, writer's block or struggle to find topics. Again, we teach all of this in our programs. If you're struggling, this is a really good, way to establish or identify if you've done the niche work. Because if you're struggling to create content, it's because you haven't done the niche work, right? You haven't dived deep enough. Okay, another way, the final way to build authority in your yoga niche is to be consistent, is to consistently be visible. That's it. Is to consistently be visible, right? So, you know, if you're going to position yourself as an expert, which you guys are going to do this, you need to be seen. You need to be seen. Okay, you need to be in the places that your ideal students are. And this means sharing content that's going to, you know, demonstrate the expertise that you're sharing. So, you know, if you're just sharing like one blog post a month, let's say, and maybe, you know, just 2 or 3 times on social media, and you're never going live, you're never doing any video, your authority status is going to be low. Versus having a repurposing strategy under your belt, okay, that allows you to create content and share it in multiple ways without adding extra to your workload. That, if you're sharing in multiple ways and you're showing up on lots of different platforms, that's what's going to help you to increase your authority. And this really is about consistency. It's about visibility. You know, it's key. This is really essential to your success online, is that you must be consistently visible. You know, you need to be really maximizing all of the opportunities that are there for you. And this, unfortunately, you might think of it as being unfortunate, but it unfortunately means being on video. And quite often, you know, that can feel scary, can't it? You know, we don't want to be seen. We don't want to show up on stories. We don't want to do the live video. But in order to, you know, really be seen by your ideal students as an expert, and to really build the authority in your space so that you can work with those amazing partners that you want to work with, you have to get on screen, guys. It's as simple as that. You know, you need to be showing up daily if you can, you know, and sharing your expertise, sharing what you're passionate about, sharing, you know, the story, your story, sharing your students' stories, sharing that how-to educational content, the content that's going to inspire people, sharing all of that. You know, it's a must. It's an absolute must. And ultimately, this comes down to content, doesn't it? You know, it comes down to you having a content plan, right? A content plan. Okay, so content can quite often feel like this massive thing that we need to create. And if you've been trying to create content in your business and you know you're finding that it's taking all week to like create your social media content, and that's even before you've thought about a blog post or, you know, starting a podcast or whatever else it might be, it's because you haven't got a repurposing strategy. A repurposing strategy allows you to do it in a really easy way. So there you have it. We must niche. That's key. Super key. It's essential. If we want to be an authority in our yoga space, if we want to be an authority in our yoga niche, of course, we need to have a yoga niche. And then 3 ways to build your authority. First of all, start a podcast. That's number 1. The second way is to start publishing a weekly blog post, okay, so that you can start being seen on Google. And then the third way is to consistently be visible with your content, okay? And if you need help and support with any of this, guys, Yogipreneur Launchpad is the step to take, okay? This is a 16-week program, an online group program where you get 16 weeks of live weekly Q&A mentorship calls. There's a Facebook group, and there's 11 modules of content that we take you through. This is for you if you are growing your community from zero. So you're just starting to grow your online community. You want to learn the marketing strategies to create content. Okay, you're going to learn about the content strategy that I talked about, the repurposing strategy, to be more visible, to grow your email list, to optimize your website, to create partnerships, and also to start creating online offerings and selling them. So we take you through all of these foundational elements that you need in your business. And of course, it starts with niching, right? It starts right at the beginning with defining your niche, getting your messaging in place, and then rolling out those marketing strategies so that you can start growing. So if you're interested in taking a look at this program, go to yogipreneurlaunchpad.com. Make it super easy for you. And you can start today. As soon as you've enrolled, you're straight in and your 16 weeks will begin. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today. As I said, we've had a few weeks break, since we had the launch for the Profitable Yoga Teacher Program. And I'm happy to be back. I will be back again next week. Keep listening to the podcast in the meantime. And start working on your content plan, guys, because this is what's essential in order for you to build your authority online. Okay, sending you lots of love and see you guys next week. Thanks for being here. See you soon. Bye-bye.